Everybody, it's Anthony Brogdon. Boy, oh boy, I got a smooth guy on the show today. And man, let me tell you something about this brother right here. He called me and said, man, I thought I had missed it. I said, no, man, I ain't gonna let you miss it. Because I really want you on Strong Inspirations. I want you to tell what you know. He came highly recommended from another guy out of his town, Macon, Georgia. You see, what happened is I went to Macon and I spoke at the Tubman Museum. If you in Macon, go by there. Very nice facility, big building in downtown Macon. It probably is the pillar of the community, I would think. I didn't see nothing else as elegant as the Tubman Museum when I was there. And I interviewed some people after I spoke there. A few days later, I interviewed them and so on and so forth. One of the guys said, man, I got the guy. You got to get him on the show. And here we are. I'm super excited, everybody. So come on and hit the subscribe button to Strong Inspirations. I'm coming at you. Hit the like button on this video. Watch, he got something that's just going to blow your mind. Hit the notifications bell for when the videos come up. You get a ding, a shock, smoke signal, something to let you know there is new content on Strong Inspirations. And tell somebody about us. Don't keep it to yourself. You know, you can watch these videos. They stay up on the channel permanently. They go nowhere. You can watch it 5 minutes, come back at it, whatever you got to do. But get some out of this because of the people who are dedicated to come on Little Old Me show. I ain't little no more, everybody. And I'm a better person as a result of Strong Inspirations. Did you see the video I did with the guy who's a Buddhist? A black guy. He said, let me tell you, the only thing about Buddhism for the most part is the chant. He said, I chant twice a day. I said, well, chanting. He said, that ain't nothing but praying. He said, that's all it is. It's a certain way I do it, though. It's words that I use. Watch that video. Did you see the one I did with the guy who tried to spy on a KKK rally and got caught? Watch that video. Did you see the one I did with the guy who, let me see, talks about the trauma that Black women have gone through since slavery? There are a couple of them on there. Watch those videos, and I cover a little bit of everything, and some wellness too. I cover some wellness too. All right, so it ain't just history. I want you to be well and talk about healthy eating and that kind of thing. And so check that out, everybody. A couple more housekeeping things. As you may know, I'm a filmmaker. I did this documentary called Business in the Black, The Rise of Black Business in America. Watch that. It's streaming on Amazon. I took it one step further and I wrote this book, Black Business Book. It is America's #1 Black business history book. You got to get you a copy of this. It makes a very, very good Christmas gift. You want to give the gift of knowledge, give the gift of good Black history. Get you a copy of that. That's also on Amazon. I got a children's book. I ran out of copies. I'm waiting for some more from the printer, but it's titled They Did It, 30 Rich Black People in the 1800s. Couple more things, everybody. I got this 2025 calendar. It's titled Do Your Best, Be Your Best. Quotes by famous African Americans. Get you a copy of this or the other calendar titled They Did It. This right here is 12 rich Black people in the 1800s. That they did it is what happened. I like that term. Now, you hear me use this other term a lot. It's called strong. 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 STRONG, which in my world stands for strength, tenacity, resilience, and a sense of oneness, nobility, and grace. And that is my introduction to the brother today. He's a good-looking guy. He's well-educated too, everybody. My man passed the bar on the first try. So we ain't playing on Strong Inspiration. We get we get the cream, and this guy is one of them. And you're gonna hear the story. So come on, brother. Tell us your name. Let's get it on. Thank you for being on Strong Inspirations.
Hey, how are you doing this evening? I'm Roy Miller, attorney, live here in Macon, Georgia. It's a pleasure being here and being on your show. You cover so many important issues, and I'm just honored to be here.
Yeah, well, thank you so very much. Uh, uh, when I start off, and I do this with all my guests, I mean nothing to it. I got to ask a couple questions about you so the audience gets to know you. Where were
Yeah,
you born and raised?
Macon, Georgia.
You're born and raised in Macon. Were you born in where the black people lived, kind of middle class? May I ask, or what was the dynamic of your upbringing?
I was born in the community of Unionville, and it was all black. And of course, uh, uh, born during before integration. So I was went to segregated school all the way through until the ninth grade, and that's when integration happened here for
No, you
me.
say segregated school. You knew that your school was all black and there was a white school on the other side of town, and there wasn't no blacks going there. Is that what that meant?
Right, and of course things was normal then because that's we lived in a black neighborhood. There were black, just only black kids, and we went to school together. We didn't even, you know, we knew that there were whites and stuff, but everything was pretty normal. It was not until integration that you started to see a change because for once, for the first time in the black community, there seemed to be the need to be accepted. Certain things that was fine with us, whether you had patches on your jeans or whether you were wearing the you know, certain clothes sold up or whatever. All of those things was normal. You went to school and you learned. We had scholars. We walked to school. We walked a good distance, and many times, so many of us made the honor roll. That was a big thing to try to make the honor roll. So but in integration, we saw where other people had more and their clothes were different. They were wearing all stars when a lot of us we couldn't afford all stars.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But
Chuck, gym shoes. Yeah.
acceptance became an issue,
Let me ask you this:
and
let me ask you this? Did you think white people were better than black people?
no, no, I was not raised like that. I think they had more opportunities,
Did,
but
did yeah? Go
given the
ahead.
same opportunity, black people excel. Black people catch up because even when slavery entered in 1865, it was barely 40, 45 years later, you had a Black Wall Street that
Yeah,
was
that's
very
right.
successful, and not just in Oklahoma, but you had Atlanta, you had Harlem, you had different places, Chicago, that had these black towns that were doing very, very well, or parts of town. Even as the United States were going towards depression, you had the Black Wall Streets in those black cities like that
Yeah,
doing very well, extremely well.
yeah. Let me ask you this. I'm gonna stay on you just a tad. Did you ever play with white kids, or could you go on that side of town, or your parents told you don't look at white people, be afraid of white people? Did you get that kind of vibe?
No, I was never given that. I knew, I was taught, well, we knew that there was racism. And you learn that not only from TV, but from wisdom from other people. And coming up, we had teachers that loved the students. They would tell us about a lot and how to carry yourself and such. There was not the same welcoming in other communities as in my community. White communities, you knew at a young age, I knew that the police could stop you for just running through a white neighborhood. And you don't want to seem suspicious. And even today, we have a problem with that, looking suspicious,
Yeah,
being
yeah,
pulled over by police. But my mom, she opened even we're looking at way back around 1960. She opened the first uh, black daycare center, and it was licensed by the state in Middle Georgia. And as far as I know, Georgia, I haven't found anywhere else or any other business that started before then. So she was into education. She felt that if black kids had the same opportunity, they would excel. And
Yeah.
I believe that also.
When you say that you knew that they had more opportunity, was their school books better? Did because I know a guy told me he said he had to go to the white school to pick up their books that they wasn't using no more. And a lot of
Well,
times they would write in the book, nigger and all this other and to tear the page out. Is that something
oh
that
yeah,
you went through?
yeah, elementary school, of course, we didn't know at the time. As kids, we didn't really think about it as that deeply, but we would get books that had names, like who they belonged to and such. The assumption maybe we thought that maybe it was still from the
Yeah,
same school, just kids that were promoted on. But later on, we realized that we were getting books that the white schools were not no longer using.
were your
So
teachers all black?
education, having access, yes, good teachers.
Okay,
Um, you can look at the yearbook. You can look at the yearbook from the '70s and such, and you can see the pride in the students and the teachers. You can see how distinguished they carried themselves. But I appreciated being raised in coming up in a black school because we learned a whole lot about life and about common sense because book sense will eventually become obsolete, but common sense lasts forever. And so
yeah,
we had teachers that now and religion was incorporated. We did devotion and prayed every morning, and that made a difference because how you start your morning out can set the pace or the tone for the rest of your day. And that's the thing that's missing in school now because it's awfully hard for a child to go from one mode, which he's been a condition or is impressed upon him to be good and to talk good, to pray together,
yeah. I got you.
students praying together for each other. It's
Right.
hard to go from there to wanting to hurt somebody.
Let me ask you this though. All right, I'm gonna stay on this just a tad bit more, and I got one or two more questions. Did you see the playground that the white kids played on? That it was better than the playground that y'all played on? And did you ever want to say, "I'm gonna sneak over there one day"?
Well, yes, and I can remember in the summer times, we would pass by and we would see a swimming pool, but it was white only. And of course, we had swimming holes in the black neighborhoods. You find a place to a pond somewhere and jump in. But there were a lot of differences, and we had the feeling that that's the reason you have to fight. You have to fight all the time. You can't. We have no. We don't have the option of slowing down or taking it easy
Uh,
because, yeah,
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, because the world is not going to give anything. Anything that comes free isn't free.
I got you. Let me ask you this: where is the why did your family live in Macon? I mean, where was the plantation at? Do you know in your family going back a couple generations or something? And was it in that Georgia area, or was Macon the big city, and that's why y'all went there? Or what? Do you know what that
Well,
dynamic is?
well, there's a lot of cities within maybe a 50-mile range of Macon, Georgia, where Native Americans lived. And actually, there was a time when Native Americans actually lived but we're going back to the 18th century in Macon on the Ocmulgee River. So when they were run away from there, a lot of them went to some of the small towns and commingled with blacks. My parents were their parents came from smaller cities around Macon, but so many people would come to Macon because it was the largest one nearby from all
I,
those small cities.
I got you.
It
What
was
was the
not in
big
Atlanta.
employer
Now.
in
We're not
Macon?
in Atlanta.
Yeah. What's the big employer in Macon?
Probably a company, Geico. There were times when we had a lot of large companies in Macon. Right now, like so many cities, you see companies leave because they can get a better opportunity. They can save money by relocating. We had places like Brown and Williamson Cigarette Company, but we've had large companies. We still have Warner Robins Air Force Base, where a lot of people from Macon work, is only 15, 20 minutes outside of Macon.
Oh, I got you. Let me ask you this. Did you ever face hold on. I'm gonna go back. I want to stay on this because I'm a northern guy. The southern thing is a little different for me, and I understand the dynamic. When the
Hmm.
school was integrated, did you have to fight white kids in the early days of that?
Arguments, I can't remember actually fighting. I remember, maybe the arguments, that was pretty normal, that there would be some disagreement, and there were fights now. There were people that were injured and hurt, really. Um, I can't remember really getting into a fist fight.
Okay.
I was never placed in that situation.
What led you to want to be an attorney?
I always wanted to know what the rules were. Growing up, I can remember when there there was a time when somebody could knock on your door, a collector, and your parents, you know, they didn't care about time. They didn't care if it was 8 or 9 o'clock at night. There was a time when people would do things like that. So I always wanted to know the rules. Law is the rules by which we live, and I wanted to know them. But also being a musician, I've been a musician, most of my life. I was raised, my mom played piano, and we sang in the church, my brothers, sisters, and I. And as a professional musician, but during that time, just playing with bands and such, I had heard so many older musicians say how they were ripped off, how they made a whole lot of money, but they didn't get their royalties and stuff. So I wanted to go to law school when I did, really to find out about contracts because I was doing a lot of work in the studios for different companies. I was traveling, Los Angeles, Marina Del Rey, Philadelphia, just different places, Sigma Sound, different studios, writing, arranging, being a studio musician. So music, I guess, I have a great passion for music.
I got you. Where'd you go to undergrad?
I went to undergrad at Mercer University here in Macon, Georgia,
Okay. And then where'd you go to law
and
school?
at John Marshall in Atlanta, Georgia. And it was one where I went when I got off from work. I was working with the governor's office of consumer affairs in Atlanta, Georgia. And I had opportunity to go to law school. Now I had to go at night, but I did. I worked 40 hours and I went to law school. I self-studied for the bar exam and I passed it the first time.
Oh my God. And that's
Yeah.
rare.
God was with me. And I feel like God knew that there were things that he needed for me to do. And he knew that I wouldn't look the other way. And I guess my life has been defined by trying to make a difference. Money never really meant that much to me, really material things. They just never meant that much to me. But making a difference in the world and trying to help somebody. In life, we only have a certain amount of time. We don't have long to decide if we're going to make a difference or help somebody. And especially, there are so many people hurting. There are so many, you know, uh, especially I look at all kids. I love all people, but especially young black kids. I don't want to see them have that disadvantage. That's one reason why I fought and became the first and only person to have the N word deleted from a dictionary, Funk and Wagner's, which led to other dictionaries changing their definition. The definition that existed in in the early 90s in the major dictionaries, that dictionary definition doesn't exist anymore. A lot of people didn't know that right around that time, the definition had changed in most dictionaries to define the N word as any dark skinned colored person, see Negro. I'm
Okay, hold
saying
on, hold on. Let me stop you there. Let me start. Let's go back over this. What you saying? Nigger was in the dictionary.
yeah, and early on it was in the dictionary probably when I was a little boy, but it was any low down, dirty person. And the presumption is that most people thought that that's what it was, but it would had to be brought to my attention by a child that had saw the definition in Funke Wagner's desk set dictionaries. Now Funke Wagner's was in at that time in all the schools. So a lot of kids were looking at that, and my feeling is that I could not allow any longer a black child in an integrated school to be called the N word and have the dictionary back it up. That
All right,
wasn't going to happen.
all right.
And
Excuse me for interrupting. Let's go back a little bit. So you finished law school. Before law
yes.
school or any time in your life growing up, were you ever called the N? Were you ever called nigger?
Uh, you know, see, during my generation, the teachers didn't allow that. My mom and dad didn't allow that. We've heard that. I heard that. But I'll tell you, when there were black schools, those teachers loved those children. They would not let you walk with your shirt out. You didn't certain things you just did not do. You didn't call no girls no B or H or any, no, all of that was no. We had so much pride. Look in the yearbooks, and
Okay.
you'll see
Okay.
we had so much pride, and unfortunately, I think during integration we gained a lot, but we lost a lot. We lost a lot about who we were, our value, our morals. There was many things that we just wouldn't do.
I got you.
I didn't
So
worry about anybody bringing a gun to school or going to kill anybody. That's
yeah.
not what, uh, uh, you know, and so things change.
So now you know the word. You look at. So who told you it was in the dictionary? I never knew that. Who told you that? How did you know it was in the dictionary?
Well, I knew when I was young, have knowing that and having seen that, and whether at school or wherever, and at that time there was a definition that says something like, it's like what no good person, or I can't remember, but anyway, it didn't say a particular race. It's like anybody can be this. But it was around 1990 when it brought to my attention, and that was then I realized that definition had changed. And a lot of grown-ups didn't know that, but children knew that because they were in the school dictionaries. And that was important to me because did not want a black child to be in that situation like the one that brought it to my attention.
I
And to
got
be
you.
called that, and then they have to look in a dictionary that say that's right. That it points right back at you, nobody else. It can't be any other race. It's got to be you. And I
Okay.
didn't like that
Yeah, I
because
love it, man. I love
the
it.
self-esteem of a child is important. We want our children to feel proud. We want them to feel uh, as much equality as we can because we know how hard it was for us,
Yeah,
and it
I love
still
it.
is. We
Okay.
it's the fight hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
The
That.
fight it hasn't stopped. We have we got to fight for our children. We got to
Yeah.
fight for each other.
Okay. Let me stop you there. So you make a decision, and that I'm going to go to court. What was your first step when you decide to take this
Re-
happen?
well, research, demand letters and such. And of course, in Funk and Wagner's right before the deadline, agreed to take it out. And I knew that having an expert of words do that, and in writing, that meant a lot because that was evidence against the other dictionaries that you can't call a black child or a black baby the N word. That's incorrect. That's slander. Now, grown-ups can do what they want to. They can call each other whatever they want to until they fall out. But you can't throw rocks into a crowd and hit a child because I'm going to fight you on that. Because it's too hard for a black child trying to make it as it is. They have a lot of disadvantages. A lot of black kids are from poor neighborhoods. They can't afford uh, 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 the same type clothes.
I got you. So
Or,
you, so you
so many
did
things.
you ever file a lawsuit?
No, I got us an agreement without it. It's a thing called a demand letter. And many times people can decide that they don't want to go any further. That's the first thing that you do. I don't care if you were in a car accident or whatever. It's a demand letter, because a lot of times when people see and they look at the law, they look at the facts, they make a decision. And and in this situation, Falcon Wagners, I think, I feel really good about what they said. They didn't leave it in; they took it out.
Now,
They didn't just take the definition out; they took the word out.
now,
Other dictionaries just changed the definition.
now, okay. Give us an idea. What are the dictionary companies?
Well, I looked at all the major ones. Um, I hate to throw names out there now without records in my hand, but all the major ones, Webster and different ones. I looked at the major dictionary companies,
Did,
and
and you sent a demand letter to each of them.
right. I contacted all of them, sent a lot of them letters. Yeah, and you see, a lot of people think fussing and cussing is supposed to be what makes a difference. Some people think that is a certain way or a certain kind or a certain class that make a difference. But it takes, in my opinion, it takes a lot of research and common sense. Because when you can show a person that they are wrong, and if you go to court, you're probably going to beat them. A lot of times they don't want to do that. A lot of times people can see that if they got a fight on their hands, it's different if a person feel like there's no fight, that a person has no case. But when it's realized that this person has a really good case, and the courts may agree, jurors may agree, but in any event, it was impossible with the definition to say that a little black baby or black child that was appropriate.
Okay, let me ask you
I
this
don't care
question.
what.
Let me ask
Mm-hmm.
you, what research did you do? What did you have to present something that says this makes us feel bad? This is the yeah. What research did you do, and
Let me
what
say,
was your theme to saying stop it?
because it was a defamation, basically
Okay,
against black children.
all right,
Wouldn't you agree?
yeah. Oh, no
Could a
question.
black baby or a black child, could anybody look at a black baby and a black child and for whatever reason call them the N word and it be correct? It couldn't be. I know that people like to call each other what they want to call them.
Right,
We call each other all kinds of things, use profanity.
right.
That's what adults do. But I'm talking about babies and children, black children. And that's my focus.
I
You know,
understand.
I and that's just my focus. I feel like we
Right.
have to make a difference somewhere in the world. We come here with nothing and we leave here with nothing. The only reason that I can see for our existence is to make a difference.
Okay,
So
let
we
me
try
ask
to
you
make a
this.
difference.
Let me ask you this. So you wrote the letter, the demand letter. How long did it take for them to respond and take action? Would you say?
I think I recall around 30 days is the time. Typically, that's a demand letter, 30 days. When somebody sends a demand letter, usually it's about 30 days that
So
you
so
give
did
for a
did
response.
you get a letter back from their attorney
Yeah,
and
yeah,
said,
I got a letter and all of that. Yes. Hmm.
And they immediately said, "Okay, we're gonna do this," or did they try
Yeah.
to fight
Yeah.
you on it?
Yeah. Taking it out. Yeah. That's right.
So
You
that
know,
was kind of easy to do, almost.
well, let me tell you this. You know, I've self-studied and passed the bar exam. I've done a lot of things that a lot of people say, you know, it's the it's the approach, but more than anything, it's God giving me the instinct. But I've done a lot of things. I've succeeded in a lot of things. I made a difference in a lot of ways, and even as an attorney, I've had an impact on laws. I've done a lot of things. A lot of people look and they say, "Oh, that's easy," but it ain't easy because it took me many years, 20 some years to get to know how to speak and what to say and what points to I'll look at something and I'll research it. And if you got a crack, I'm going to find it. I guarantee you.
I love
If
it.
a person underestimate me and think it's something that I'll find it, and that's my approach. I mean, I don't go looking for a problem. I always feel like if you can work it out, that's a good thing. Sometimes you find reasonable people who will do the right thing. And a lot of people don't know just maybe how wrong they are until you show them. Sometimes when you show a person, not everybody will say, "Well, I know that it's wrong, but I'm keep doing it anyway." Some people change to do the right thing. Falcon Wagner did the right thing, and I'm glad. But more than anything, I know that God was on my side. I have a lot of faith, so I go against the odds on a lot of stuff.
All right, let me ask you
That's
this.
me.
So did they send you a letter back and saying we're going to do it, or you just noticed that it wasn't in the dictionary the
No,
next
no,
edition?
no. They sent the letter and they kept the word. Yeah,
Mm. What
they
how
kept
do
the
people
word.
do other people know you for this? Did you get an award for this? Has NAACP
No,
recognized you? Any
no,
kind of thing like that?
no, 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 no. You look on the internet, you'll see it all. You'll see a lot of things from Black Enterprise or different places of talking about my accomplishment. But I didn't get an award from any of the organizations. A lot of people, I wonder, it seems as though some people are angry with me for doing that for the children because there's this
And white people or
obsession with
black
the
people?
N word. There's an obsession with the N word. Some people can give up a lot, but not the N word. They can give up a lot of things, but not that. And so we have in music. I'm a musician. I write. I play several instruments. You heard some of my music, and I play all my instruments. I write. I write. I'll tell you what. You give me 24, 48 hours. I'll write, arrange, and do a whole album. And my music. I'm the Leroy Ace Miller is all over. People internationally. But people even today, principals or elected officials or civil rights organizations, they haven't given me an acknowledgement of the N word as though it's something wrong about destroying their word. And I try to explain to them that we don't look at origin or anything because you go to Nigeria or Niger, they don't call themselves that.
That's right.
They call themselves Nigerians.
That's right.
And that the word was invented as an insult, the ultimate insult towards Black people here as slaves. To say that you are below people, you have to look at the Paris Treaty that defined who we were before the United States became a country. It defined us as property. Property could never be equal to a human being. So the N word is that word that fell in line with the definition of who we are, that we can never be equal. In our country, you have had laws that said that separate but equal, but never said we're one and the same. And so, I don't play with that. I don't play with that. We have to fight because we'll be dead and gone, and we leave this world for the next generation, for our children, we got to somehow try to get them some equality. We have too much injustice. I mean, we just don't have time to give up anything. When I hear the N word, I think of an Asian mother, a woman who had the master's baby, and both of them were called the N word. When I hear the N word, I think of a father that was lynched trying to protect his little girl. You know, it's a different meaning that I have. I don't believe in building playgrounds on top of cemeteries. Our ancestors died for us to be respected, to be somebody. They have the opportunity to be somebody. It's no joke to me. You
Are
know,
you an activist? Are you an activist or something like that? Would you say?
well, some people have said that I am, but I just try to make a difference. I try to make a difference. I speak up. I mean, I speak for elderly people or children or poor people or sick people. You know, I'm always volunteering and doing things. You know, but where there's a need, you know, somebody has to try to make a difference. I love everybody, but I recognize that sickest person that's been in the emergency room all day and haven't gotten any care just happened to be Black America. I recognize that. And we need attention. There are things that have been neglected for too long, and we need that. You know, you know, even as we look at the future in 2025, so many people were so afraid. They are saying, "Well, they're going to put us through hell." Well, I've already been through hell. How about that? You know, I've struggled. I know what it is to struggle. I know what it is to be hungry. I know what it is to know that you were qualified, but you are not given just based on the color of your skin, you know. And you know, and I do feel like, that God has a lot of good things in store for Black America, but just like we read so long ago in the Bible, where it says that you got to come back to God. You know, you look at it and you say we're lost now. See, when it, before 1970, there were the population was full of whites in jail and in prison, not blacks. So something changed after integration, you know, and it is so sad that we a lot of times turned on each other. We this thing called crime with blacks killing blacks, that just didn't happen like that. So some things have happened that we got to. When you look at a person that is lost, you retrace your steps to the point most familiar and you begin again. If you retrace our steps, we'll be right back in the 60s where we had a Bible in every house. We had morals, we had values, we had love, we had God. People could see that. Now, if God brought us all the way from slavery, all the way through segregation, you know, he had great intentions for us. We were the seeds that were meant, that was planted in desert soil, not meant to survive. The fact that we are here is incredible. It's almost impossible. We should have all died off from a stroke, depression. We shouldn't be here. Logically, we shouldn't be here, but here we are. We are here for a special, we survived. God knew what he planted when he brought the seed to America. You know, a lot of people can look at us and they can see more of who we are than who we see we are. And I tell young people all the time, you are better than you think you are. You know, so when you take the faith from a person, they tend to fail. So if somebody didn't want you to succeed, they don't have to be bigger than you or could beat you up or anything. They just need to take your faith. If faith can move mountains, then I don't need to be as big as you or as smart, but I just need to take your faith. So many times there are things going to depress. You know, I talk a lot and I fight a lot about the surroundings of in the Black communities where the communities need to be made nice, or how many In a black community, how many generations does it take to get a decent street? I know growing up, I was on dirt roads up until they finally started paving them in the 70s. But how many generations had lived there and paid, excuse me, taxes before it was enough to say, I want to give you something that the white communities have had for a long, long time. So equality, though, it doesn't come easy. It won't be that. But we have to keep fighting. It's like swimming. If you stop swimming, you're going to sink. It's something perpetual that you have to do continuously. But we have to motivate our young people. We have to speak good things to them. We can't let anybody talk down on them. If you can allow somebody to call your child the lowest word ever created, the only word that can get somebody killed for saying it. If you can allow somebody to talk to your child that low, then what else can you say? Well, I'm a good dad. How? You just let somebody use the worst word they could in the lowest way, because I've heard rappers say, well, we're going to try to make this word friendly. That's almost like conditioning young people to say that, well, that he just spit on me, but I'm going to take it as cool rain. How about that? Oh, spit on me some more. Because you changed of what the spit meant to you, it didn't change the spitter. It's to that spitter is still spit. So I don't
You
condition
never.
people
Let
to
me stop
say
you there. You never say the word.
no, no. I don't say it. It's been said enough. And that word, there's a lot of pain that with all the bad things that happened to our ancestors, and breaking their backs early on in life, lynchings, rapings, and different bad things. The N word was always your witness. It was always on the scene. It was always there.
Mm.
It's been said enough. And a lot of young people, they look up to me, and they feel that they know that I care, and I got to carry myself in a way to keep their respect, because many times that respect that can make them really want to try, even as a college, a university professor. And I've taught at Morehouse and Fort Valley, and you know, young people want to believe. They need somebody that they can respect to say you can do it. And when they do it and you told them that they could do it, they don't ever want to lose that respect from you. They work and they try so hard. So I don't talk down. And I would tell my students, I won't let anybody talk down on you. No, not here. I'll fight for you, because they need it, they deserve it. Young people are going to make us proud one day. I haven't given up on our young people. I know I see the crime. We look in our experience in America, and it's like a balloon you keep putting air in it. And what we're seeing now is an overfilled balloon that just burst. How long did it take? You can see a wife, a young, beautiful wife, married to a man, and she's abused over how many years. And then one day you find out that she got a pistol and shot him. Some people may say it took long enough, didn't it? So what's happening now is so much has gone into that balloon, racism, and it's finally burst. you know. So I can't judge or talk about what a black people can do and how bad they are until they've had an even playing field from from the cradle up. How can you talk about a plant that's not growing? Look at it and see, well, what did it have rain? What kind of soil was it planted in? It's more than that. It's more than that. So I don't give up on our people. I don't give up on our young people. I'm gonna keep on fighting for as long as I can, and I thank God for giving me the health and strength to keep on. But no doubt about it, it hurts sometimes to know that, I've fought, and even the N word is treated I feel like, as though it's loved so much that when you know, uh, you can see that my fight wasn't because of awards or accolades, because I've never got it. Mm-mm. I've never charged either. You may see where I've gone and smoked in New York or Baltimore for their first resolutions and stuff against in word usage and such, but I never charge, you know. But I think that, just making a difference God allows me to just keep making a difference. That's good enough for me, you know.
Let me ask you this: Have you done a song eh, with this in mind? Is there a song that you've done?
And I've done so much music. A lot. I got hundreds of recorded songs. And you'll see a lot of them on YouTube, actually, under Leroy Ace Miller. And
Is it, you say
I mean,
Ace?
God allowed me
AC?
A ACE,
Okay.
Leroy Ace Miller, and God allowed me to tell, and I write a song like in minutes. Same with a poem. You leave me in a room, I play the instruments. Come back a couple of hours, I have a song. God allowed me a lot to have that good feel for music, for poetry, and for people. Um, One that I like in particular now is, and it's you can find it online. "We Need Peace" by Leroy Ace Miller, and it talks about we need peace. We need unity. I need you. You need me, regardless of color. It should not take color to love one another. Why can we love with a blind man's heart? But we need peace. I have my own theory, and I published. It's been published, and it was probably in a dozen different magazines at one point, but it disappears. And I talk about the my faucets theory, FAUCET, socioeconomical theory, that that racism is more today manufactured. Is people, you got some bad people and some evil people, but it's the person that controls the faucet of opportunity. In this case, the richest 1%. They can turn the faucet up and everybody's just happy because everybody has enough water to drink. They can turn it down and there's barely enough water for half of the people to drink. They're automatically going to turn on each other at the bottom. Now, there's plenty of water. The problem is the wealthiest 1% control the ocean and we fight over a puddle. So it's predictable. A lot of people turn the faucet down just to see people turn on each other because it's profitable in different ways.
Let me stop you there.
A
I
lot
got
of
to
people
ask you
make
this.
money.
I got to, because you about to make me cry, man. I got to be honest. I've cried 3 or 4 times on the show. You about to make me cry. Let me ask you this, and I don't know what else I can put. Are you an angel?
No, God, I pray that God can just use me. See, God had brought me a long ways. A lot of people don't know I had polio early on. I made it through. I can remember when it was said I wouldn't walk, and I had iron, those iron crushes and stuff. I remember they would be so cold in the wintertime, but my dad would take me to the clinic. Seemed like every week or every other week. I can remember him carrying me there. And I can remember I had prayed that if I could just have them off one day. Now, I never will forget, before I started first grade, they took them off a couple of weeks. I've been walking ever since, and everything has gone well and stuff. But I look at the things I've had: double pneumonia. I've had a stroke where I was air flown. uh, uh, to a different city. Survived COVID twice. But I look at it, but God has been bringing me through. You know, he's always pulling me through. And I know that even when I had the stroke, I can remember the doctor telling me he was the neurologist. He said, "I'll be honest with you. Things prognosis does not look good." And I can remember him saying that the surgery that you need right now, like right now, we don't have any doctors in this city who can do it. So there's no hospitals in a professional that can do it. And I can remember telling him, I said, "Well, to each life, some rain must fall." And I remember him saying, "What did you say?" And I told him that again. About maybe 5, 10 minutes later, a nurse came in and said, "We're going to get you ready. We're going to fly you to where there's an expert, with somebody who can do this." And they did. I put me on a helicopter and I went to the doctor's hospital in Augusta, Georgia. And there were probably 6 or 7 doctors around. I can remember being on the table that would operate. And they had things hooked up to me. And it, it stopped. And this is the honest truth. The stroke just stopped. It was expected to do a lot of harm, but on that table, it stopped. God stopped it. And even afterwards, I can remember them saying that we got to wait 72 hours to make sure you're out of that it's not going to come back or whatever. But it did. I thank God for that. And I can remember them saying that with you, surely you're going to have to do some rehabilitation with your arms or your legs or something. But there was no damage. And I knew then that God was telling me that he didn't tell death, no, he said not now. Because there's still some work that I need to
Amen.
do. Yeah, there's still some work. And so, in life, you know, all we have really is to trust God. That's all. Nothing's promised. So many things we do are scary. We go against the odds, but all I know is many times I have not seen how I would make it from point A to point B. And I make it, and I still don't see how I did it. All I know is who did it. And I still can't see logically, you know, how I got paid my way through law school or anything. I still can't really see, but God makes a way. And many times we won't even see it. The only thing we have to trust God. And many times, I'm not a man of wealth or anything like that, but I have a lot. But God gave me a lot through wisdom and the ability to help somebody.
Let me
And He
ask you.
knows that I have a.
I got just two more questions. What happened to you early on to be who you are? Did somebody say some one thing to you? Did somebody touch you? Were you laying in the bed and God came in the room? Do you remember anything that like that says that's how this
Well,
happened?
my mom had such a big heart. She loved everybody. Mom we'd be in the car, she'd ride around the block 2 times to give a person $1. And we already knew she didn't have but a few dollars. She just loved people. She forgave people. She was just forgiving. And my mom and dad taught us to do the right thing, not to hate anybody. I never hated anybody. I never desired anything bad to hate or anything like that for anybody. You know, um, I no matter how hard life got, I never desired anything bad to happen to anybody. And you want the best for people. And later on, you realize, as my mom taught me, my dad too, but my mom, she had such a heart. I mean, I miss her so much. She had, she just had a heart of gold. And, that love, loving people, especially those that can hardly make it without somebody helping them. You know, I'm a minister also, but I've never charged. I never charged to preach. Never, because of course, if God doesn't, it's free will. Whatever you do for God, it has to be a free will. As a minister, no, no, no. The gospel's not for sale. I don't have authority. Where do you get authority from to charge somebody? And of course, people can give because that's deceit. Jesus told his disciples, don't charge, but if people love you, they'll give. They'll try to help you when they see that you need help. But God is a God where he won't even make you like him, won't make you love him. He won't even make you talk nice about him. You have to do it freely. And so many times, and I said, well, you don't make, you don't charge to preach. Don't do that. Hmm. There was a time when people ran from the calling because they knew of that. You don't charge or anything. People ran from the calling. They didn't want that. The sacrifice was too great. But so many times now people come out of woodwork because they see it as a career, a way to make money. See, but it wasn't meant to be like that. See, you help people. The anemic don't have blood. The anemic need blood. You try to help people. There's a problem when you go in and you prosper and you're the only one prospering in the community. And the people around you are still sick. They're still suffering. Moms still having problems with their boys, their girls, you know, pride. Yeah. But my mom, she left a great impression on me and my sisters and brothers. And I thank God for my mom, my dad, and we were in Unionville, which was considered a poor black neighborhood. But there was still love on those dirty streets. Nobody was trying to kill each other. People looked out for each other. We walked together, split a Nicomite. Well, you may not know what a Nicomite is, but it was a big cookie. but we shared. We cared for each other. Things change, and it's so sad to see people look down on each other. People look down on the poor, and I tell them, I said, you don't look down on the poor because we come here with nothing, we leave here with nothing. That means that we can only face God as a poor person, dirt poor. Now, what are you going to do when you're poor standing in front of God? You want him to treat you the same way you treated people? When you had more than enough, but you couldn't share. Why does it take a law to make you share? To help somebody? So, I'm not about material things, money. Well, that just doesn't mean a lot to me. If I did, I'd probably just keep on trying to help somebody. Because we only have a little time in this thing called life for our purpose. And I feel that our purpose are the same as Jesus gave his disciples to be fishers of men, that you only have so much time to try to pull your brothers, your sisters, your children, your aunts, your uncles out of those treacherous waters that may be there and get them on the boat. Because you don't want them to perish forever, for an eternity. You only have so much time and then it's over. And I think so many times people come here come here and God sent them here for a purpose. They come here, then they forget why they came. They like what the world has to offer. The values of the world and the things that people see of value. We are the only creation by God that see that. I think sometimes that mankind is the last creation to get it right. because animals, they don't see black or white or short or tall or fat or skinny, rich or poor. They don't respond to none of that, but they will respond to how we treat them. And that's what we got to learn. Perhaps we're the last to get it right. It's how we treat people. You don't make anybody feel like they're nothing. That's bad. That's terrible. Even a dying person, you can talk them up and say, hey, you're going to be okay, or say something to lift somebody, not to bring them down.
Oh my
So
God.
that's what I try to do.
And your name is?
Roy Miller, Attorney Roy Miller. That's me. And I really appreciate you having me on. And I really enjoyed this. I really
Man, I
have.
did too, brother. And then, you know what made it happen is they told me, said you got to have this guy on there. And I was like, I didn't know the whole magnitude of the story. When they told me, they
Hmm.
said my man got the N word out of the dictionary.
Hmm.
I'm like, oh
Hmm.
man, okay, okay. But this your story is bigger than that.
And I try to really focus on saving the children.
My God, this is what it looks like. Everybody, strong inspirations where we give it to you straight, no chasing. Not with alcohol, but with God's blessing, with
Amen.
God's intervention. And he is working through this young man right here. Unbelievable. I'm a better person now, knowing that there is such an instance as this. Everybody hit the subscribe button on Strong Inspirations where you get this kind of content every so often. Hit the like button. There is no love button on it, but hit the like button, please do. Um, Hit the notifications bell and tell somebody about us. I got one more thing to ask you. Do you have a website how people can follow you and have you written a book or anything like that? Or how can we
Yeah.
support your ministry?
Well, because I don't charge, I don't. And I ask people when even toward the giving that they get their blessing for giving, but to give it to after we pray on it to give it to someone that God is going to show them who's in need. And I don't mean this to say to take away from the churches, but there's this feeling, and I've even heard a pastor saying that you don't give to the poor, you bring it to the church. And I say, if you had 2 buckets of water, what sense would it be that you walk past people on fire and then enter the water because you're taking it somewhere else to fill up some? You have to help people where God brings them to you. So I don't. But you can reach me at Attorney Miller 99 at AOL.com. I'm on Facebook under Attorney Roy Miller and up under Roy Miller. I have 3 books. One, my diary of inspirational consideration, things to consider. The second one is The Story of a Dreamer, which was actually a bestseller on Amazon. And it's poetry. But it's like what we're talking about. It's about life. I just use poetry because people receive poetry. When you're talking about things, especially young people, they close their ears and their minds if it sounds like you're preaching to them or teaching them. So it works with poetry. And Edith Moon is a novel I wrote, and it's during 1800s, black child, young black girl that make it against through all the odds. Yes, but and I love writing. I would love for people to just check out some of my books.
All right. Everybody, we'll put all that in the description, how you can get the books. That you say they're on Amazon, right?
Yeah, and a lot of places online. If you put
Yeah,
Attorney Roy Miller,
yeah,
and especially The Story of a Dreamer.
yeah, yeah. We're gonna
Can
put
I
it.
read one poem from it?
Yeah, please.
We cannot move the mountain, said the old man to the boy. We cannot move the mountain. We'll never get to joy. Old fields are built up, sand by sand. We cannot move the mountain. Then the boy said, sir, yes, we can. We can begin to love a little bit at a time. We can begin to forgive. The Lord will give us time. God made the mountains. He made you and me. And he who made the mountains can move a mountain. You will see. Don't be a prisoner for what you can change. God will move the mountain, and love will replace the pain.
Mm. To you, my brother, I say this, and I mean this with all sincerity. I want you to stay strong, stay safe, stay on your grind. I love you, man. I got
I
an
love you
angel in
too,
front of
and I
me.
thank you so
That's
much.
that's the moral of the story. I got nothing else. This has been deep on me, and I love it. Everybody go to my website, businessintheblack.net, and look for the description, order his books and stuff like that. It'll make you a better person. With that, I'll say bye bye, we out.
All right, have a great night.
Thank you.
Mhm.